Patricia Andrews.
Thank you all for staying late, listening to all the concerns. Appreciate it. Patricia Andrews, I live at 3033 Country Club Road, within the city limits of Denton. And speaking to you, not as an expert, but as a 23-year resident of Denton, a landowner and a mineral rights owner. I've had a gas well on my property. I remember the enthusiasm and expectation of profits with which I gladly signed the lease agreement. And while I had a contract, a fairly good one, written by an independent lawyer, I found that I scrutinized the provisions of my profits better than the risks to my property and person. I believe the city of Denton and many of our residents do the same today. Our well was drilled in May of 2004, completed in June. It took 8 months to see any production out of the well, and then it only produced roughly 28,000 MCFs in the 3 years of production. The operator only earned $112,720 on his $1 million investment in the well. I'm estimating that at about $4 per MCF, which I think is perhaps even a little bit optimistic. Significantly, the well production was stopped because of noise complaints from our neighbors. I didn't dispute their claims. It was noisy. But the production before the noise complaints was minuscule, less than 105 MCF per month for the last 2 years. My disappointment with the oil and gas industry did not really begin until it was time to get the mess cleaned up. We had a water pit covering 5 acres, a pad site covering another 2, and tanks and other production facilities that covered another acre. Now, I'm not asking anybody to blame anybody but me, because I signed the lease and I agreed to all this. However, we did have a contract that said that they were to restore the property to its pre-drilling conditions. That didn't happen until years later, after we had contacted the company numerous times. Finally, I had to get hold of the Railroad Commission, have the lease determined, or the well determined abandoned, and the lease nullified. And then even after that, we had to get the Railroad Commission back involved and the city of Denton to come back and get that company back there to clean up the mess. The noise, the destruction of land, the lack of compliance by the operator were only some of the problems. We also had one of our horses die 6 months after drilling commenced within 5 feet of the wellhead. There had been a leak of fluid from the well, and the horse was found near the puddle of water. You could say what you want. There's no indication of any problems with that horse until we went out there, found him dead near that pool of water. I don't understand why it's critical to the citizens of Denton that we have gas production in our backyards. In my experience and the research of the wells around the area where I live, the production's not justified by the expense of the drilling, the wear and tear on our infrastructure, and the potential health hazard. 2 wells down the street from me appear to be only, they're producing less than 400 MCFs now, and that's been the case for the last 6 years. Neither of those wells have been plugged. And my fear is that once leases are signed, the production's maintained as long as possible, despite minimal output, to prevent having to pay cleanup costs and continue to have the leases active on the properties so they can then come back and be fracked again and again every 2 to 3 years using more of our water, more of our infrastructure. And I hope you take these into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.